Welcome to 16 Weeks of SATs. My name is Andrew, and this is the series all about spelling, punctuation, and grammar. Spelling, punctuation, and grammar, or grammar and punctuation, as some of you may know it. So, excitingly, last year we produced some amazing videos all about arithmetic, and this year I've decided to incorporate a few more videos, or a whole 16 weeks worth of videos about grammar. So, the first week, week one, we're going to be covering everything to do with nouns so that we really understand exactly what a noun is. I'm going to explain the different types of nouns, show you some examples, then show you some SATs examples so you can see what you're likely to encounter when it comes to the actual SATs tests. And then I've got around about 7 questions for you to have a go at yourself. Hopefully the video will be around 15 minutes, a little bit shorter and snappier than last year. So we get straight into the content. As I said always, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, share it far and wide, smash like buttons, leave comments, share it with friends and colleagues so that everyone can benefit from the 16 weeks of SATs videos. And don't forget, there are the arithmetic videos as well that are there to guide you through from place value all the way through to some of the most complex arithmetic questions that you'll get in your SAT. So let's get stuck into today's content. We're going to be covering nouns, exactly what they are, and how we can spot them in the SATs. So with nouns, as we've said, nouns are, let's just write this down, nouns. So we've got nouns are people. Okay, so that is their names. So as you can see, we've got this image here. So as we've said, nouns are naming words. So all nouns that we're going to cover will be naming something within the sentence, okay? So we're often looking out for people and their names, which will always have capital letters, regardless of someone's name, and we know that. The second thing we're looking for are the names of places, okay? And again, as you can see on this image, we have places like Rome and London and New York, Pisa, and India, whatever it may be. Both people's names and the names of places are proper nouns, so they would require a capital letter even when they are within a sentence. Okay. Further to that, we've got common nouns. Okay. And they are objects and things that we would just see in everyday life. Basically, everything that you look at in the world that you can see is a common noun. I'm pretty sure, in terms of a 99% statement. Anything, as you sit where you are now, if you look around and everything that you can see in front of you, unless it's a person, will be a common noun. So that is a naming word, whether it's cup, wall, door, glove, dog, wallet, mouse, cable, iPad, microphone, bag, carpet, door, book. All of those things are names of the object that you see in front of you, but they don't require a capital letter because they are just common nouns. And then the final thing we need to look out for, which are a little bit less common, are abstract nouns, which you can see here at the bottom, which name feelings. Okay, feelings and emotions. So that sense of feeling scared or feeling happy, happiness, etc., and so on. As we can see here, all those words are words that would describe emotion. So it's the name of an emotion, but they're abstract because we can't see them or touch them. Okay, but they still need a name. How we feel still needs a name to be able to name that emotion, if that makes sense. So that's what we're looking out for with nouns. But the key thing to understand is that nouns are naming words. So they name people, they name places, they name objects, and they name emotions. So let's move on to some really simple examples. Now, in the SATs, we're often going to be looking at basically sentence level examples where we're looking to identify the noun. So let's read the first sentence. The ball landed on the car. So again, we're looking for words that name people, places, or objects and things within the sentence. So hopefully, straight away, we can see that we've got the word ball and we've got the word car. Okay, that are objects, they are things that we could see. Now, the clue to spot, and this will come in other lessons, is look at the word that comes before it. So we've got the. Now, the is a determiner. So we've got an, at, and the, which are articles that sit under the category of determiners. And these will come before a noun to help us determine their size, their number, whether it's singular or plural, and so on. So if we spot a ball or the ball, that's going to be a big clue that that is a noun. Okay, but even that is getting into more complicated territory, whereas if we just look at the words, is the word the a noun? Is it As something, is it a person or a place? No, it's not. Is a ball? Yes. Landed? Clearly isn't. On? Isn't. The? Isn't. Car is. Okay. Very, very straightforward. Let's take a look at the next sentence. Mia and Tom went to the park. So again, we've got 3 nouns here in this sentence. And again, the obvious ones should be the fact, if we just circle these as well. So we've got very obvious Mia and Tom, naming words. So they are proper nouns, giving Mia and Tom their names. And then we also have the park. Okay, so they went to the park. So the place that they went to needs to be named so that we understand where they've gone. It's not a place in terms of its proper name, for example, the name of a city or a company. It's just a location in terms of the park. So it's a common noun, it doesn't need a capital letter. Very, very simple. And again, if we can spot before that, we've got the word the. The park is a huge clue to the fact that park is a noun. And again, another example, we've got a dog barked at a cat. So again, hopefully we can see that the word dog, and these are very, very simple examples, but most of the sentences within the SATs are pretty straightforward. So a dog barked at the cat. And again, we've got these preceding determiners of a or a here, which are a big clue to the fact that dog and cat are nouns within that sentence. And again, if we take a look at this bottom sentence, we've got the kids were visiting London on Monday. So again, we've got this determiner here that's helping us understand that although kids is an informal word, it's a naming word for a group of children. So we've got kids is a noun. We're visiting London. So we know London, capital letter, is a noun. And then on Monday, Monday is a proper noun because it is the official name for Monday. And we can see that with the capital M. So again, 3 nouns within that sentence of kids, London, and Monday. And the final example page from me before we look at some SATs questions. So again, in this sentence, we played with the bat and ball on the grass. So I'll read that again. We played with the bat and ball on the grass. And again, now we've seen a few examples, we should really be spotting the fact that we can see the bat and ball and then on the grass. Sorry. So again, we should be able to see that we've got the bat, we've got the ball, and we've got the grass are the nouns, those naming words within the sentence. We, you may be looking at that and thinking, well, that names us. We is a pronoun. Okay, so words like we, I, you, me, those nondescript words that can name individual people and groups of people, they are known as pronouns. Okay, so a separate word category that does fall under nouns, but not in this instance. And again, the final sentence, we've got my, again, another pronoun. My book is full of ghosts, monsters, and witches. So again, hopefully we can see we've got a list here of 3 items being the ghosts, which is a naming word. Then we've got monsters, a naming word, and witches. So again, 3 nouns within the sentence, which is very common. So let's take a little bit of a look at, oh, and obviously I've just missed this one as well. We've got my book. Okay, so there's a 4th one in there as well, which would have been typical for me to have missed within these sort of videos. So we've got my book, so a book, the ghosts, the monsters, and the witches. So 4 examples of nouns within that sentence. So let's take a little bit of a look at some SATs examples. And it's really, really common. If we just see this up here, we've got the fact that it wants us to identify 3 nouns. Now, in the SATs examples that you're going to see from me here, it's very, very common for the SATs questions to want you to find 3 or even 4 nouns within a sentence. The key bit to look out for is this word here at the start where the verb is instructing us what to do. Sometimes it'll say circle, sometimes it'll say underline. So we have to do that. So in this instance, it's saying circle. So we're going to circle the nouns in the sentence. And the big clue is that there's 3 of them. So we've got, he played the piano with great confidence and rarely made mistakes. So it should be pretty straightforward to spot these. So the first one that we've got that's really obvious is the piano. So we've got the piano preceded by, you wouldn't do this, but that determiner that's going to help us spot that there. And then this one becomes a little bit tricky in the next bit with, so he played the piano with great confidence. So we have this abstract noun here, this naming word, So we've got great confidence and rarely made mistakes. So mistakes would be the third noun. And again, if we use that in a little bit of sense, we'd say Andrew made a mistake, or the mistake was made by Andrew. We can sort of see how the word mistake, which is a little bit uncommon, is used as a noun. Okay, let's take a little bit of a look at the next example. So as we said, we can see again here, we've got 4 nouns that need to be circled. So let's take a look. The strength of the wind, and again, if we're unsure whether a word is a noun, because the SATs questions aren't always going to be about cats and dogs and cars and doors, but the clues that we talked about before in terms of if we can spot the word the strength, even if we were thinking, I'm not sure if strength is being used here as a noun, the fact that the word the comes before it as a determiner or an article is telling us that strength is a noun here. So we can circle that one straight away. So we've got the strength of the wind made the trees in the forest sway and bend. So it's really, this one's a really, really good example of the word, the determiner the preceding other words, in this instance, nouns, that are really telling us that this is a noun. So it makes that question really, really easy, and it takes away that uncertainty of, is this word a noun? I'm not sure if strength is acting as a noun. Well, we can use the word the to really help us decide that that is the case. And now some trickier examples with these ones. Obviously, we haven't covered verbs and adjectives yet. That's going to happen in future videos, but these questions are going to come up a lot where we've got verbs, nouns, and adjectives. Really, really 3 common grammatical classes or word classes of verbs, those action words, nouns, naming words, and adjectives, words that give more information about the noun. So again, we've got this example where we've got the word folds, folded, and folds again. And we've got to read the sentences to decide whether they're being used as a verb in terms of an action, a noun, naming, and an adjective providing more information about the noun. So again, he folds the letter carefully. So in this instance, folds is being used as a verb. So if we think about that word folds, and try and visualize it, he folds the letter. So that is an action that's being performed. So in this instance, it says tick one box. So that would be actions like that. In a second, the folded letter. So here we've got the folded letter. So it's the letter is folded. So this is going to be an adjective. So folded is describing the letter. And then in the final one, the letter had folds in it. So if we think about that, we've got the letter had folds. The folds are the name for how the paper has been folded, which can be a little bit complicated. But in this example, this one is going to be the noun. So but this one becomes much easier once we understand verbs as well and adjectives as well. But it's just so that we can see the types of questions where nouns are going to be presented as well. And then another final example, which is very, very similar. Tick one box in each row to show whether the underlined word is a verb, a noun, or an adjective. So an action, a name, or additional information about the noun. So again, there are many magnetic materials. Magnets attract some metals, and we can magnetize the nail. So for me, this one's really obvious as to which one the verb is. Hopefully it's for you. Magnets attract some metals. So magnets here is just the name of a magnet. So that one should be really obvious that that one is the noun. Magnetize. So again, we can magnetize the nails. Magnetizing is a process, an action. So that's one's going to be a verb. And that obviously leaves us an adjective. So in this example, the materials are the noun, and magnetic is telling us about the materials. So that is an adjective. So again, we'll cover that in future episodes. In fact, the next 2 episodes will be about verbs and adjectives. So very useful to watch episodes 2 and 3. And just to finish off, a little opportunity for you to have a go yourself at identifying the nouns within each of these sentences. Most of the sentences have 3 or 4 nouns within, but definitely pause the video at this point, have a little bit of a go individually or as a class, identify the nouns. And again, one of the key things you can do, and you should be able to spot them straight away, there are lots of determiners in these sentences before lots of the nouns. So you should see lots of at and the before nouns that are going to help you identify them. So good luck with these examples. and good luck with nouns when it comes to your SATs. Well, that's nouns covered for week 1. Hopefully you've got a better understanding of the different types of nouns in terms of proper nouns and common nouns, the difference between those in terms of capitalization. And then obviously we've got the fact that nouns will name things. Okay, so we've got nouns are naming words, they name everything that we see in the world around us. We've got people, places, objects, and things, and then we've got emotions as well in terms of those abstract nouns. So we've covered everything, and we've seen in lots of the examples, those SATs questions are wanting us to find sometimes 3 and 4 nouns within a sentence, which actually in reality is really easy to do when we can also spot those determiners and articles that are going to help us identify it as a noun. But normally they're pretty straightforward, and in reality, in most SATs papers, there's only 1 or 2 questions on nouns maximum. Okay, so well done for getting stuck into this week's videos. Like I said, please leave the comments, please share, please subscribe, please like the videos, and let your friends know about them, let teachers know about them, so that everyone can be best prepared for SATs. So well done. Good luck in your SATs when they arrive in a few weeks' times. And that's it from me on this week's episode of 16 Weeks of SATs.